Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I am so excited to share my tried and true tips and adventures with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 193rd episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and this week we're going to talk about sporty travel. Now, let me explain what I mean. My family and we are not a sporty family, meaning like we've never done travel ball with our boys. We don't tend to really go for one team over another in any type of college or professional sports. Like, I am a true Mississippian in that I want all Mississippi teams to win whenever we're playing. So I don't take part in the Ole Miss Mississippi State rivalry. I am a Southern Miss Golden Eagle. So if anyone else is playing besides Southern Miss, then I'm happy for Mississippi team to win. But even though we appreciate sports, and I grew up playing basketball, and Christian, my youngest, plays tennis and basketball and loves it. We're just not a sports household. So when we travel, sporting events have never been in the forefront of our minds. So that's different for a lot of my clients. A lot of my clients will plan family vacations around sporting events. I know a lot of you have kids of all ages who go to tournaments, and there's all kinds of events that seem like they're with travel ball that you can end up being on the coast. And so I have guests that will both plan for their kids' events, and then they also plan family vacations around bowl games. That's not an unusual thing. So I'm not telling most of you anything that you don't already know who enjoy traveling with sports in mind. But for us, this was a completely unique experience because we actually went to 2 NBA games in 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, we went to 2 NBA games. And I explain how that came to be because it was kind of accidental at first. And now it may be something that as a family we decided we really enjoy doing. So for spring break, we were in San Antonio. And I'll have a whole episode all about what we did in San Antonio to give you some ideas for if you want to plan a trip to San Antonio, because it was amazing. One thing that we were asked if we were going to do was, were we going to watch any basketball games while we were there? And I was like, no, not on the list. I have so many things planned that we're going to do, biking and the river walk and going on the Mission Trail. A basketball game was not on my list of things. Even when we arrived, not on the agenda. Well, Christian's favorite basketball player is Wembanyama. I'll call him Wemby for short from here on out because I have a hard time with his name. So that's his favorite basketball player, but I will admit he nor any of us knew even which team he played for at that time. Like, Christian had been looking him up and watching him on YouTube, and so he would talk about him and talk about how tall he was and how he was this 7'4" basketball player who was from France, and he was the best player in the league. And so he kept talking about him. Well, we're sitting in the bar area of Mi Tierra Cafe and Panaderia, because that's my kind of thing on a trip. Like, I'm planning the activities, the food, the culture, and again, sports have not always factored in, or have never factored in for me, really, when it comes to that. But we're sitting there eating a guava empanada at the time, and a basketball game is on. And this is a landmark institution for Mexican food in San Antonio. So it was an amazing restaurant. We were getting ready to walk to see an outdoor laser light show on a cathedral called The Saga that was filming later that night. And so we were getting ready to walk to that. And the basketball game was on, and it was the Spurs playing the Celtics. And all of a sudden, Christian got so excited, and he started yelling. He's like, "There's Wembanyama! There's Wembanyama!" And we looked, and we're like, "Oh, he plays for the San Antonio Spurs." Again, I told you, do not judge. We're not a sporty family. I did not know. Christian didn't even know, and he's the most sporty of the four of us. I was like, "Oh, wow." And then we're like, "Oh, they're playing in San Antonio." Christian said, "I would love to see him play." Well, Logan and I kind of locked eyes, and he immediately gets on his phone, and I know he's searching to see when their next game is, because we're like, okay, what if it happened to be this week while we were still here? Could we actually go? And they were going to be playing the Denver Nuggets that Thursday, and this was a Tuesday night, and we weren't leaving till Friday. So then the next thing was, I'm like, okay, well, how much are tickets? Can we even get 4 tickets together? What is this going to look like? And long story short, we decided we'd just go for it. Now, we had some nosebleed seats, and it was going to be in the Frost Center, which is, like their FedEx Forum. And it was going to be Thursday night. We're like, well, this will be a really interesting way to end our trip for the week. And so Christian was really excited. Even London was excited, because he's like, well, it'll be my first NBA game. And I think I had been to an NBA game. I think I had seen the Grizzlies play once before, but it was probably like a group event where a bunch of us went in college. And I don't even know if I even knew who they were playing or what was happening. I was probably going because my friends were there. So I don't know if that really counts, because I don't know if I was paying attention as much as I love basketball. I don't even remember. I think I've been to a Grizzlies game. So we're calling that our first NBA game that we all remember, and it's definitely the boys' first NBA game. So we went. We had a great time. There was a very long line. It was packed. It felt like we had a park forever away from the stadium. But when we got there, we got to our very steep seats. It was completely packed. You could just feel the excitement in the air. And then they start to warm up, and we're looking for Wembanyama, and Christian can't see him, and we can't see him. I'm like, I know we're way up here, but I would think I would see a 7'4" basketball player. And then Logan looked it up again, and they had made the call 45 minutes before the game started that Wemby wouldn't be playing that night because of an ankle injury, and they decided that he needed to rest it. Well, I knew that Christian was disappointed. We were disappointed. The whole stadium was disappointed, and some people were leaving. But I thought, no, we're here. We came to watch an NBA game. We're going to enjoy it. And within a couple of minutes, we were super excited again. And Christian was the one that I feel like rebounded the quickest, because he's like, he was disappointed. We went there for him. We thought that this is exactly what he was going to want to do and see his favorite player. And he's like, it's fine. He said there's other great players. And so we got to watch other great players on both teams. And it was an exciting game. And we realized by the end of it, we're like, well, this was really fun. Like, we should do this again. And then it's like Logan and I had the same thought. We looked at each other again. We're like, I wonder when they play the Grizzlies, because we should do this, closer to home. We should take them to a Grizzlies game. A lot easier than going to San Antonio. It just, we happened to be there. We looked it up, and in 2 weeks' time, which just happened to be, the other day, they were going to be playing the Grizzlies at the FedEx Forum. So we decided, you know what? Let's look at this. We may actually book this, closer to time. And we did. Now, overall, you would think, all right, we were in San Antonio. That's where the Spurs are from. That's their, home stadium. That was our first NBA game. Looking back, comparing that experience with going to see them play against the Grizzlies in FedEx Forum, which is an hour and a half away from us, so we could drive over for the evening, have dinner, go to the game, and be back before midnight on a school night, no less. You would think that the San Antonio experience should be the best experience. But I'm going to tell you unanimously, the four of us decided that we enjoyed going to the Grizzlies game when they were playing the Spurs even more. And it's not just because Wemby actually played when they played the Grizzlies. It wasn't that. It was that watching both teams was exciting. Our tickets were more affordable when we went to the Grizzlies. We ended up getting them even the day before. It was much easier getting in and out. Our seats were like 3 times as good at the FedEx Forum for less than when we went to the Frost Center. So we realized, you're like, you know what? We have been missing out on this, sports experience that's just right down the road in Memphis, just because we're like, we didn't think it was something that we would enjoy doing. But here's what I want to make the point. Sometimes when you're on a trip and you're outside your element, because we could have gone to a Grizzly game any year, would have been easy, but it was just not something on our radar. It was not something that we thought we would all enjoy doing. But we decided, you know what, when in San Antonio, let's go to a Spurs game. That'll be something that, would be a great way to end the trip. And we realized how much fun that we were going to have, and we could do that closer to home. And that's something that travel does. It opens up your experiences and your opportunities, not just when you're in another state where you wouldn't normally be, but it can make you think of your own home and extended area in a different way. Right? Like we could have gone to a Grizzlies game at any point in the years past. Wasn't even something we wanted to do. And we had the best time. So a few takeaways, like I said, why did we prefer the Grizzlies game against the Spurs more than when the Spurs were playing the Denver Nuggets? I said better seats, better pricing, easy parking, less crowd. Wemby played. We had fantastic dinner options. We went to the Majestic Grill, which is located right beside the Orpheum. So if you've ever been to the Orpheum, you have probably seen the Majestic Grill because it is just down the street from it, easy walking distance. So we went there before dinner, in and out in an hour, walked down Beale Street, got to the FedEx Forum, and it was easier parking there beside the Orpheum in a parking garage than it was when we were at the Spurs game in their own parking lot. Easier getting in, easier getting out. Parking was $15 for the entire evening. So we realized, we're like, this is something that we would enjoy, and this is something that we want to maybe look at doing every season. What are some other sporting events that are now on our list? Well, this has made us think of some other things that we would like to do. A Predators game in Nashville. So we were even thinking we could fly from Tupelo to Nashville to go catch a Predators hockey game, because that's something I think that we would all enjoy. And we've actually talked about that for a few years now. And so that is high on the list, maybe next year. Another basketball game we would like to go to is we would like to see the Grizzlies play the Celtics. So that's going to be on our list. So whether you're a Grizzlies fan or not, which I will say, it was more, their event the whole night was a lot more fun for us. And maybe it's because we're warming up to what an NBA game consists of, but I just found it even more enjoyable. So you can go for the Grizzlies, and you can also see some other amazing teams when they come to town. As far as baseball goes, seeing a Trash Pandas game in Huntsville is something that's also been on my list. I know a lot of my guests have done this, a lot of our friends have done it, and they have said it is a super fun event, and you can combine that with so many things to do in Huntsville. So stay tuned. That's going to be on our list to do sometime this summer, hopefully, and then maybe I'll have some feedback from that for you. To go to a college baseball game. I've been to a few college baseball games in my day. My boys have not been. So that's something that we're looking at doing, not only a minor league or a major league team like the Braves or the Cardinals, but to go to a college baseball game. Bucket list things, I have always wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby. And if not the Kentucky Derby, then is for the actual race, but at least to go to the stadium and for the historical aspect of it. And also some type of Olympic event. I know when we have a year like this year when the Olympics happen, and I think the Winter Olympics would be the one that I would really love to see. It's one of those things I know it takes a lot of planning. You can't just up and decide the day before or 2 days before like we did for both of these basketball games. They're like, oh, we're going to go to the Olympics. That's going to be something that takes more planning. So something I want to look into to maybe plan ahead for a bucket list sporting event. I would love to hear about your favorite sporting event that you have ever traveled to. And you can share that with us on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate, Whimsical Destinations. That is all the time we have for this week's episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. Wherever you're going this week, whatever you're doing, life is a great adventure, but it is what you make it. So take that trip. Make those memories with your family. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcast, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.